This is basic Makiwara training. The Makiwara is just a slab of wood with either like a belt, piece of cloth, piece of canvas across it. That's all. Bottom part here is wrapped in canvas. The top part is actually wrapped in a white belt, single layer. And this is a gigantic, it's bigger than 4x4, but it's a pretty big piece of wood, right? The purpose of the training, one, to condition the hands. You already know that from tradition. Two, to teach precision striking. When you strike the Makiwara, you're not making a thud sound. The idea is to take the tips of the first two knuckles and hit them solidly, but not hit anything else. Notice, I can pass my finger under where my fingers are. See, when I ball my fist up and I hit with my first two knuckles, this should not touch. So I should be able to pass my fingers right in front of the fingers, but the knuckles are touching and put that weight on it. So if you ever see a good karateka, when they punch, it almost looks like they're punching downward, right? Because they're turning the hand over, you turn it over, and as you turn it over, you turn that hand over and you angle the knuckles down to create a straight line. Not an exaggerated bend, but a straight line. The third thing you learn from the Makiwara, you get what you give. What does that mean? You get what you give. See, in a fight, you get what you give. In life, you get what you give. What does that mean? Isaac Newton had 3 principles of motion, right? And one of the principles was, when you talk about net force, one of the things he talked about in his third law is that for every action, equal and opposite action, right? Why is this? Because for every force, equal and opposite force, right? That's where the net force is 0. What do I mean by that? Every time a force is exerted by one object on another object, the second object exerts an equal and opposite force back. That's why when you hit something, you hurt your hand. Why is that important to know? Simple. When I hit this thing, and it's not a punching bag, and I don't have hand wraps, and I don't have a glove on, and the first mistake beginning students make is they try and hit as hard as they can, as fast as they can, because that's what they think determines who wins the fight. If I hit harder than you, I win because I hit harder. And that's not what determines the fight. So the first thing you need to learn is, you don't go up to a heavy bag or some pads or some mitts and just start whacking as hard as you can, and then jump in the ring and start whacking as hard as you can, and then you wondering why your first year students all got concussions. You wondering why everybody's quitting. You wondering why the minute you take off the wraps, take off the gloves, you bust in your hand. The reason is, you get what you give. Stay in your lane, right? When I hit, and I'm a beginner, and you punch just a piece of wood, you're going to mess your hand up. It's going to hurt real bad. So what do? You go slow, and you tap. And that's exactly what a good instructor wants you to do. I want you to do that. Because now, you're not trying to hit as hard as possible. You're actually studying the Gyakuzuki technique. I'm actually saying, look, my wrist and my hip turn together. My hand extends out as my hand rotates. Up on full rotation, I should be at full extension. Judge your distance. Only my first 2 knuckles should be striking. My shoulder, elbow, wrist, and knuckle should all be in a straight line, so that if I pass my finger, it is straight. If something is not straight, correct it. If something is not straight, correct it. So I can slowly study. There is nothing, music, dance, and fighting. There is no performing art where you learn to do it fast. You have to learn slow. Otherwise, you're fast and sloppy. And let's be honest, fast and sloppy is less effective than slow and correct. The perfect combination is fast and correct. Now, as you build up a tolerance, as your punch improves, as you learn where the shock is going to be, how to align the body to optimize your ability to absorb the shock, how to generate power without throwing and sacrificing your joints and your body parts. You'll be able to strike faster and harder. Without hurting yourself. Notice, I'm not hurting myself. I'm not hurting myself because my technique is good. If I told you step out, just throw a drop hook punch or an acre punch, could you do it? In all honesty, could you do it? The answer is no. No, you couldn't. When you are precision striking with good form, good technique, you go slow because you're a beginner. As I get better, I go faster, I hit harder because I'm getting better. And how do I know that? Because you get what you give. I can take a harder shot because so I deserve to give a harder shot. So when we start sparring, you're a beginner. If that's all you can do on the Makiwara, that's all you should be doing in sparring and techniques. You get out there. That's how you should be sparring because that's what you can take. And that's a real assessment of your fighting skills. Get what you give. You hit that wood, yeah! Put that boy out there with brown and black belts because he can take that so he can give that. That's where he belongs. But if you're not moving like that, know your lane. With all this rush to be sportsmen and MMA and get in the ring, you got kids now jumping in the ring with 6 weeks of training. You don't know how to fight. You don't know how to move. You don't know what you can take and what you can't take. And in a competition is the wrong time to find out you got a glass jaw. In a street fight is the wrong time to find out you have no pain tolerance. In a street fight is the wrong time to find out that if you punch that way, you bust your hand. That's the wrong time to find that stuff out. So when you by yourself, take a piece of wood, piece of concrete, punch the ground. You done seen some of the drills, hand condition exercises and stuff, right? And find out what you can take. Because if you can't take it, don't try and dish it out. Because what you throw out is going to come back. For every force, there's an equal and opposite force coming right back.